Hi, this is Thomas Mitchell. I'm a professional nature and wildlife photographer based in the state of Utah in the United States. I love all things outdoors and photographing the wonderful nature all around us. If you'd like to find out more about photography and the great outdoors, click the subscribe button and follow me on all my adventures. So I've hiked here into the high Uinta wilderness area in the Uinta Mountains of Utah, set up for the night, and I'm going to be photographing this. The river is just right over here to my left, and there's some beaver ponds. I'm going to try to photograph across some of these beaver ponds and the river with the peaks in the background. I'm also going to be doing some Milky Way photographs. So this is my first time into this exact spot, so I'm going to do a lot of scouting and poking around. So stay tuned and hopefully I'll get something amazing. Man, this area is so wet. I should have brought my galoshes, or as they say in England, my wellies. I really didn't want to hike in those, and I didn't want to carry them on my back. I should have just brought them. I brought a change of socks, and these are not waterproof boots. And you're probably going, well, that's why your feet are getting wet. I won't wear waterproof boots unless they're rubberized or leather with the waterproofing on. But even then, they won't keep your feet dry. They'll soak through. These will dry out pretty quick if I set them in the sun because they're not waterproof. Just a little info there. I'm going to keep exploring out through here behind me. There's moose all over in here, and I'm probably walking right into where they're hanging out. Though right now they might still be bedded up here in the trees. I haven't ran into any yet, and I very likely will. So keep you posted. I'm almost to the stream. I'm trying to find a spot where I can get the river and up the canyon. We'll see. All right, I've made it to the river. Found a beaver lodge right here and a small beaver pond. There's that beaver lodge. You can see where it's been living in here. Got all these willows. It'll stash them there so it has food it doesn't have to go far for. Just this little backup off the river where it's channeled water into, and there's peaks back in there. Here's a composition that I like. This it would be nice if there were clouds, but at the same time, I came up here knowing there wouldn't be clouds, so I could hopefully get some Milky Way shots. So, you know, it's a catch-22. But when you're shooting stuff like this, try to find leading lines, the river leading your eye in to the image, just sweeping curves, lines that go in. S-curves work really good if you can find them. This is a great place for S-curves, but you really need to get some elevation sometimes to get that, and I'm not going to hike in here and bring an 8-foot ladder, because that's what it would take. But yeah, this is just gorgeous. The sound of that water. Really nice. Also, when you're composing, push the peaks up to the top so they're in that top third of the image. That'll really help show the three-dimensional aspect of how high these peaks are and how they're towering over the scene. shooting it with a little bit more wide angle lens. I think I'm maybe 40 millimeters. It causes the peaks to look like they're in the distance, which is partially why I like shooting panoramics. You can shoot a panoramic and zoom in and get what you want, but also get the wide angle effect. So it's like having a wide angle telephoto lens. I'm also using a polarizer filter on these shots. I'm dialing it back some so that it's got some polarization but not total. This is helping to make the sky look bluer and helping to cut out some of the reflection on the water. Just give a little bit more detail of the rocks in the bottom of the stream. So using a polarizer filter really can help. Here's another spot quite a bit further downstream that I like. I got a good view of the peaks in the background and this big nice curve on the river. Let me show you this. Here's what I just got. I preach this a lot in my videos. Check your histogram. Constantly be checking the histogram to make sure that your exposure is good. You can't tell on the viewfinder if the exposure is going to be good or not. You have to use the histogram. Look at this. Well, I took my water filter and bottle and went down and got some more water. Always keep yourself hydrated. It's probably 70 degrees here. It's not that hot. I think I'm at probably 8,000 feet, maybe 10. I'll have to look and see, but keep yourself hydrated. Drink lots of water when you're out doing this stuff. So I'm back at camp. I'm just gonna chill. It's probably like 6 o'clock, so I'm gonna make myself some dinner. Sun won't set until 9, and so I've got a ways before that perfect light if I decide to do it. What I'm really gonna be watching for tonight is moose. I brought my 28-300. It's not the fastest lens on the planet, but I really like it. It's pretty sharp considering, and 300, if they're pretty close, I can get some good shots. And 100 yards, yeah, I try not to get too close to them. Walking through all this willows and stuff, I was totally surprised I didn't jump a moose, but I think they're still bedded up in the trees, though. I didn't jump any. There's fresh moose track everywhere, a lot of fresh sign, so I know they're in here. There's a lot of moose in this country, and this time of year they have the cows with their calves, their little babies, are what you got to watch out for. They can get mean, so just, it is what it is. So I'm going to chill for a bit and just relax. Well, I got my shoes mostly dried off and my socks just to get them wet again. The mosquitoes are awful. I've got another change of socks I'll put on before I go to bed. The mosquitoes are bad. Sun went down behind the mountain and the temperature dropped to 55. And I decided to come poke up here a little further, just a little further from where I've camped. I can actually see my camp from here. And it's just all sopping wet. This is like tundra. This is pretty much alpine stuff like this. These high alpine meadows are pretty much like tundra. You get the same kind of plants growing that will grow up in the tundra. And right now, all the water that's just coming off the mountain still from the snowpack and just flooding all this, it's just wet. Everything's wet. Well, I'm back at camp, just off the side from my camp. The only spot I can really stand without getting my feet wet. I think I'm going to do a Milky Way shot of this tonight. Let me show you. So you can see the peaks there. This isn't the best perspective. I really would like to be out there, but it's just sopping wet. If I had my muck boots, I could walk out there so easy. I mean, it's barely ankle deep, but you know. So I think I'm going to shoot the Milky Way over this. At midnight, it probably is going to be right back there in that saddle, right at the lowest point back in between the peaks. So should be, if my bearings are right. I haven't checked the compass, but I'm pretty good with this, so I'll check it just to make sure. It's not going to be the best Milky Way shot. I think what I'm going to do is get a foreground shot just after the sun goes down, once the sun is no longer shining on the peaks, and then do a Milky Way shot and do a blend. It's not the most interesting foreground. I really need to be about 200 yards to my right, but I don't want to. I suppose I could get my feet really wet and pull it off, but, you know, and then just let my shoes dry out overnight, but they won't dry out without sun on them, so I think I'll just do what it is. This was more exploratory than anything, just hiking in here. There's just down the road, back at the trailhead, is Christmas Meadows. I've got a number of photographs from that point, from that spot, and it's a really popular place to go. And I was looking at Google Earth and saw this area up here, and I was like, I wonder if I hike in there what I could do. So here's the image that I got just as the sun was going down with the last bit of light on the peaks. This is my image of the night sky without having moved the camera. And then this is the blend of the two. I really like how this turned out. I think it shows the overall perspective and ambience of what I was trying to get. I specifically took a shot with the last bit of sunlight hitting the peaks just for fun, and I decided to use that as my blend image because I liked the look of it. It helps give it a little bit of interest and clarity. It helps bring those peaks out because that's a 14 millimeter lens, so those peaks are a long ways away, but this helped make the peaks stand out a little bit more, and I think the blend turned out pretty good. It's not my best image I've ever done, but I'm happy with it. I woke up at 11:30 to have to go pee and just decided to shoot my Milky Way shot then. You know, I mean, the Milky Way wasn't completely where I wanted it. Had I waited till 12 or 12:30, it would have been dead on, but I just figured to do it then. You see, my feet were really wet, my shoes, so I changed into dry socks to go to bed. And to get out of bed and come shoot that and to go to the bathroom, I was going barefooted. I pulled off my socks, and so I walked over here to where my camera is, which is only about maybe 50 yards from my tent, from my hammock, and photographed it. And my feet were freezing. It got down to 37 degrees. I've got a little thermometer I bring with me, and it hovered around 37 degrees all night long. So it was a tidbit chilly. It's still probably maybe 40 right now. When I got up, there were two moose hanging out right over here. They've moved back into the willows now. I'm hoping that they come back out, but we'll see. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is just coming up on the peaks behind me. No clouds, not a cloud in the sky. That first morning light just hitting those peaks is really cool. I'm debating about eating breakfast here or not. I think I'm just going to pack up and head out and just eat breakfast when I get back down to town. I brought an almost empty fuel canister, and I barely got enough out of it last night to make my dinner. I do have a little twig stove I could use. I could make a little fire and in my twig stove and boil water. But I'm just kind of like, I think I'm just going to pack up. The mosquitoes are going to get really bad here as soon as it starts to warm up once the sun comes up, and I want to be out of here by then. So, well, I'm heading out back to the trailhead before the mosquitoes get bad and all the 4th of July people pile in here. It's a beautiful morning. Hear the birds singing, the robins and a couple Swainson's thrushes. Just beautiful. I really needed this. I haven't been out on a backpacking trip in a couple of years. I got diagnosed with cancer last year, and it was just about exactly a year ago I went through cancer treatment, and it kind of took it out of me. So it's kind of been a long road getting back, but I've just got to lose a bunch of weight now. You know, most people lose a bunch of weight when they get cancer. Not me, I gained it. I guess it's because, you know, laying around and stuff, but anyway. I really want to come back in here and bring my muck boots and get some shots across some of those beaver ponds. Keep my eyes peeled for moose on the way out. Moose and deer, I might pull this out and get a couple videos of them. And thank you so much for watching, and happy trails. There's a moose. This doesn't bring them in very close, but little bull, not too little. Looks like he's gonna paw him out pretty good.